Chapter 2. Burdened with Grief. The moon hung low in the sky, casting long shadows over the village as the last remnants of nighttime fought against the impending dawn. The air was heavy with a silence that had befallen the village since the disaster. The once vibrant sounds of laughter and life now replaced by hushed whispers of grief and disbelief. Ruffier stood at the edge of the village, the burned buildings behind him a grim reminder of what had been lost. As he looked back at the scattered figures of the surviving villagers, many with hollow eyes and weary face, Ruffier felt a deep ache in his heart. Though he wanted to stay and offer comfort, he knew he must leave to give news of possible future danger. After days of trudging through the muck, Ruffier finally reached the outskirts of Bastogne. The town stood like a sentinel against the sprawling hills, its stone walls resilient in the fading light. He paused for a moment at the entrance, taking a deep breath to steady himself. The council would want numbers, might even want details about the disaster, but what they truly needed was the humanity behind those numbers. The cries of children lost, the elderly clinging to faded memories, and the community that had stood together against them. As he entered the bustling town square, cloaked in twilight, the familiar sights and sounds seemed weird to him. People went about their lives, traders bartering, children running after one another, oblivious to the tragedy unfolding elsewhere. Ruffier felt like a ghost, an interloper watching a world continue without him. He made his way to the council hall, where he found a gathering of serious-faced officials in discussion, their voices rising and falling like the tide he had just fled. The moment he stepped inside, all eyes turned to him, and the murmurs halted. "Who are you and what news you bring, stranger?" one of the councilmen said, his expression hardening in concern. Swallowing hard, Ruffier stepped forward, feeling the weight of the world on his shoulders. "My name is Ruffier, and I bring dire tidings," he began, his voice trembling slightly. "Barbarians. They raided our village, took homes, families. We lost. So many. The survivors grief-stricken and in need." He recounted the devastation, forcing himself to remain composed as he spoke of the children left without parents, the elderly who had fought bravely against them, and the collective sorrow that wrapped around the remaining villagers like a shroud. With every word, he laid bare the pain of his community, and the council's facade of order began to crack as concern spread among the officials. "We must send aid," another councilwoman urged, her eyes shimmering with unshed tears. "Food, shelter, medical supplies." As the discussions intensified, Ruffier felt a flicker of hope ignite inside him. Hours later, as the moon began to light the sky, Ruffier stepped back outside. The chill of the night air pricked at his skin, yet he felt a renewed sense of purpose, but didn't know how to proceed from here. While Ruffier was contemplating, a mysterious voice came from the shadow. "You look lost, yet your eyes are filled with fire." Ruffier instantly picked his axe as he jumped back to a fighting position. The man was wearing a cloak and a somewhat normal attire with an animal badge, almost like a dragon, but couldn't see properly his face as the darkness of night covered him. The stranger continued, "Good reflexes, and I'm sorry I didn't mean to scare you, but if you don't anything else to do, I can give a piece of advice. The lord of this castle is recruiting men for his army. It may or may not lead to your objectives, but at least it should give you some time to think and perhaps learn new things." Ruffier, with his curiosity piqued, said, "Who are you?" The stranger responded with a chuckle. "Me am just another desperate person, just like you." As the man turns around, Ruffier shouted, "Wait!" The stranger vanishes to the darkness of night,